People are joining. Hi, thank you for joining the new week. And it's also the last week of this cycle of programming for those doing HF Physique right now. It's week 6. So hopefully everyone hits personal best this week and you're excited for a new 12-week mesocycle starting next week. We'll be doing lower upper body splits. We're bringing back squats, and we have a lot of just things I'm really excited about in the programming to come. But most importantly, we're super excited about the fall 4-week challenge. I called it Elevate Your Everyday because I feel like, we're all working towards physique goals and we want to, build our glutes or lean out or whatever it is that you want to do with your physique. And I think it's so easy to get focused on those goals and forget about just feeling our best. And also, if we focus on feeling our best and taking care of our internal health, then it's going to be way easier to achieve our physique goals, right? If we're in a state of fight or flight and we're stressed out, and we're not taking care of our health, then it's going to be a lot harder to have any control over how our body is going to change and improve our physique. So I love focusing on habits and focusing on the process and focusing on the benefits in the now, because I think that's so much more gratifying than worrying about a goal in the future. I think it's nice if you can combine both and they both work together, but that's what we're going to be focusing on for this 4-week challenge. And I think it kind of really, essentially, my hope is that it ties together the positive internal health biofeedback that we're going to get, and then also your physique goals. So we as a team will be setting your calorie and protein intake based on your goals. If you haven't filled out the form, when you sign up, you'll get a link to fill out a form to go through just what your diet history is, what your goals are, etc. And then we'll set your calories and your protein. We aren't setting specific goals for fats and carbohydrates in this challenge, just because we want you to focus on sustainability and flexibility, and those can be flexible. However, if you want your fats and carbs set for you, then just message us when we set your protein and calories. Just let us know, and we're happy to do that too. If you're like, I just need some guidance, then let us know. But we didn't want that to be the standard for this challenge, because we're good with you guys being flexible and having your fats and carbohydrates be more intuitive through this challenge. So sometimes when we set things, people get stressed and feel like they need to hit those numbers. So just focus on hitting your protein and your calories. And we're going to do within 10%. At the end of each week, you'll look at your weekly average. And if your weekly average for protein and calories is within 10% of the goal that we set for you, then you'll get your points for those. So how the challenge will work is every week we'll be tracking calories and protein. So you will be logging your food and getting points for that if you hit your weekly averages. And then you'll be doing 4 HF workouts per week. So HF physique workouts qualify, or if you're doing one-on-one coaching and your coach has given you programming, those qualify as well. And for the HF physique, you can do the 15-minute workouts, you can do the 30, you can do the 60 minutes. So we really want this to be accessible to everyone, no matter where your fitness level or your schedule is at. The goal is to build upon what you've been doing. So maybe if you've been doing 15 minutes, maybe try bumping up to the 30. Or if you haven't been working out, let's hit the 15 and something over nothing. Or if you are doing the 15 now, and keep doing the 15, that's great too. Work on getting stronger and improving within that time domain. So those are the things we'll be tracking weekly. And I want to make note that you can still win prizes if you aren't hitting your protein goal every week. Don't feel like this has to be all or nothing. Maybe you miss out on 5 points one week because you're not perfect. Keep going, because every point you get for this challenge will give you an entry to win the weekly prize or the grand prize. So don't feel like it's only the highest points that are going to have the best, that are going to win. They will have the best chance to win because they'll have more points, which is more entries. But we've had people win with very little points too. Just, it's going to be random, how the winners will be chosen. So keep going if you have a rough week is what I'm saying, and focus on just improving where you're at. And then as far as the weekly habits goes, if you've seen the email or you've seen the sign up, you've probably already looked through these. But just talking about them, because we'll have people that maybe have questions. So hopefully we can answer those now. You will be doing week 1. We'll be focusing on steps. So that's going to be 10,000 steps a day. You can track it on your watch, or if you have a pedometer of some kind. If you don't, then it's just a 1 hour daily walk. You can break that up into 3 20-minute walks if you want, 2 30-minute walks, or just go for an hour walk. Bonus points, like just for you, not for the challenge, if you can do it outside, because the weather is great right now. If you're getting outside, you're going to get all of the benefits of sunlight. And nature's just going to help a lot with our central nervous system too, just like really taking us out of fight or flight and having all of the benefits of being outside, especially if you can see like some trees and you're not walking through the middle of a city. But that's, obviously we want this to be doable. If you have little ones, like walk around your house for 30 minutes, set a timer, and just find a way to make that work, because getting in that movement is going to help you really feel energized throughout the day. And also will help towards those physique goals as well. So that's week 1. Anything to add, coaches, on 10,000 steps a day? Strategies or like thoughts there?
Did you talk about the hour walk?
Yeah, getting in an hour walk is the alternative.
I think like using it to break up your workday is really nice. Like I really love doing that to like, do a check-in, do a little loop, do a check-in, do a little loop. It works well for me. So I'm like inside, outside all day. And I don't know, it makes the workday nicer, and you get your steps, then you get your outside time. So that's a strategy that really helps me.
I love that. You could even do 6 10-minute walks, like set your timer, and I think just as long as you're not like, oh, I probably walked for an hour today. Like we want like intentional walks. So I think that would be a great idea. I remember when I worked, for like at a desk job years ago, I used to set a timer every hour on the hour, and I would do like 5 minutes of something or 10 minutes of something by my desk. So that could be great too. Like fill up your water and just go walk around your office 5 times. And just, depending on where you're at, or if you're like at home with little ones, like set a timer. Okay, we're going to do some walking around the house for 10 minutes or whatever. You're at least close by if cause I know that can be really hard too, like to get outside and do cardio if you also have to watch your children and if you don't have a treadmill, so like just walk around your house if needed, or walk around your yard with the kids. And then week 2, we are habit stacking this challenge. So if you've done lots of challenges with Hungry Fitness, you've probably done this with us before. We've done it in years past. But so week 2, you will continue with the 10,000 steps a day challenge, but now you'll also be focusing on getting outside. And we may have said 5 to 10 minutes. We're doing 10 to 15 minutes. So getting outside for 10 to 15 minutes, the first 3 hours of the day and the last 3 hours of the day. And what those hours are, I would say like essentially 30 minutes before the sun rises, we'll count that up to for like the first 3 hours of the day. So 30 minutes before the sun rises into 3 hours after. And then same with evening, 2.5 hours before the sun sets into like a half an hour after the sun sets. So just, you don't need to be super worried about it, but if you can just get the sun at that low solar angle, sun setting or sun rising, just getting outside 10 minutes, go outside, drink your coffee, drink your Perk Energy, go for your walk. Then you can combine those 2 habits. And make sure when you are outside during the first 3 hours or the last 3 hours, you are not wearing sunglasses. We want your eyes exposed to the sun. If you can have your skin exposed to the sun, that's even better, because that's going to help your body optimize your circadian rhythm, which is going to help with your body's natural production of melatonin in the evening. And then same with optimizing cortisol in the mornings. And those things are really, really important for keeping us healthy and thriving. So if you've never focused on this before, also you could roll down your window. Like if you have to bust it in the morning and get your kids to school and get to work, like roll down your window on your drive, because I'll count that too. Like you're at least getting sunlight on your face. And so that's an option as well. Your windows and your sunglasses are going to block the sun, those UV rays. And so that's why we want windows down or sunglasses off. Obviously, if you're walking around like midday and on a walk, like throw your sunglasses on if you want to when the sun's really bright. But in the morning and the evening, it shouldn't be as bad. And actually, it's been interesting since I've started that. Like I didn't used to be able to go outside ever without putting my sunglasses on. It just felt so bright to me. And I always blamed it on the fact that I have blue eyes. Because they must just be very sensitive. And since I've done that, going outside in the mornings and the evenings without sunglasses, I can now be midday most days and be okay without sunglasses, which is very new for me. So my eyes have definitely adjusted too. So if you're the girl that puts sunglasses on, like the second you walk outside your door, then this will be a fun little new challenge for you. I still wear them in the car because I like sunglasses. So, anything to add there on getting outside, benefits or thoughts, strategies?
Thinking that just a way to like kind of habit stack it would also be like just take a walk
Up the road.
in connection with your meal, like with your first meal of the day and your last meal of the day, if that suits when you're having your meals, of course. But that's just a way to kind of remember that, okay, I'm gonna either go for a walk before dinner, I'm gonna sit outside and have my dinner, or I'm gonna go for a walk or just get outside. It doesn't have to be a walk, of course, but then post dinner, and then same with breakfast, because that just makes it, and you're kind of combining the two. It just makes it easier to kind of remember, but kind of a habit stack.
Yeah.
And if you're doing the walk at the same time, like, you're checking off a lot of boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that evening time is hard too for most people, because like morning seems to be a little easier to get it in, but I've been getting my kids to their whatever they're doing.
So much driving at this stage.
But just like while they're sitting in there, say at their practice, if it's not outside, I just go outside to lift a tailgate to my car and just sit for 10 minutes in my car. Like,
yeah, that's
like
a great idea.
already there,
If you don't want to like walk around while you're maybe kids are at practice or in between things, like even just rolling down your window and cranking the heat on if it's freezing and you don't want to get out of your car. Or the tailgate is a great idea because then you're getting lots of light, but you're just still hanging out in your car.
My car.
So yes, I know. I'm at the stage of like 4 to 9. I'm driving. So I get that too. So just like getting creative, finding what works for you there. And that's why it's 3 hours. We got 3 hours on each end. And then also just know you get a point every day you do it. So if you're not perfect, like just try again the next day. And then weeks.
Another thing to add, I was going to add one more thing because I feel like I get questions on this because we so often will say sunlight exposure and people will ask, totally great. It's light exposure in general. So if it's cloudy, if it's raining, find some coverage, but you're still going to get benefits even if it's not full sun exposure. I get that question a lot.
Yeah, it's just being outside, like no matter what weather it is.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's good to note. Go ahead.
It's just about being outside. It's also about like getting away from blue light, like from the blue light from the lamp. So it's like, it's the double kind of. Yeah.
And just having that, if we can get outside in the morning and the evening and get that light exposure, we're also like helping our body anchor itself to the day, because inside we have blue light. So our body thinks it's daytime like all the time. So another thing along with this, if you want to get extra credit, or just something to like think about, is when we go outside, where our body knows it's morning. So when we go outside in the evening, our body knows it's evening. So when you come in and the sun is setting, like that's a great time to put on your blue light blocking glasses, like dim the lights in your home, kind of like prepare your home for sleep, And so that's usually what is said, like if you can, sometime for us, usually it's around dinner that the sun's setting. So it's usually like when I try to get outside. And then after that, I'll put my blue light blocking glasses on, turn off all of our overhead lighting, and just kind of that's like prepares me for rest, whether, it's 7 o'clock, I'm not going to go to bed right away, but usually within 2 to 3 hours I am. And I feel a lot more sleepy when I do that. My body starts to produce melatonin, like going outside kind of kicks off that process. And then if I put my blue light blocking glasses on, when I am exposed to blue light, my body doesn't think it's 12 o'clock in the middle of the day because it's blocking that blue light. So my body's continuing to have that cascade of hormones happening. And that melatonin production is really important for many things, but inflammation being a huge one. So, and also you getting tired and sleepy in the evenings. So having your body naturally produce that is really important. And that's the optimal way to do that. So hopefully we answered any questions on that, but if you guys have any, then ask them. And we're going to be talking about each of these habits each week. So we'll kick off the week on Monday with our call, and we'll be talking about that specific habit for the week. So we'll get into more like depth on these too as time comes. And then week 3, this is the week that everyone's going to complain about the most, I have a feeling, is getting in 1 serving of smash fish. So fatty fish, smash is just a great little, oh my gosh, acronym. That's the right word, right? That Griffin came up for our team, and it helps me remember like which fish we want. I really only eat 2 of them in my diet. I know Henrietta eats more, but a serving we decided is at least 2 ounces. So at least 2 ounces of salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, or herring. Those are all options. I also think trout would be considered an option too. It's a fattier fish. And I only eat salmon and sardines. What?
Oysters, isn't that also?
Oysters would be one too. So if you guys have one and you're like wondering, ask us. Oysters is just, I guess, people can get canned oysters. I think most of the time it's like a little harder to eat solid 2 ounces of oysters. So, but yes, that is an option too. So that one, we will be giving like ideas and recipes and stuff that week, but I kind of rotate between canned salmon, canned sardines. I buy a lot of the frozen salmon fillets, this wild sockeye fillets from Costco, and then I can just like throw that in the air fryer and whip it up really quick. I will also I have the smoked salmon. They have the wild sockeye salmon smoked at Costco, and you can just peel off like the pieces. It's the lox? That's what it's called when it's in like those really thin slices. So I have that too. So I kind of rotate between the smoked, the canned, and the frozen, so I don't get super sick of it. And depending how I'm feeling for that day. Henrietta gets really creative with her. You eat like mackerel too, which is really fishy tasting.
I eat but we have like mackerel. I grew up with that. Like that's like you have it on a sandwich, basically. You just get it in. It's in tomato sauce. So it's just so I just eat a big fillet of that for breakfast with every morning. That's kind of my new, just to get it in like every day, like check it off first thing. And then I might have salmon like later in the day, but that's just my norm now. And then I have it with scrambled eggs and veggies. Like that's my
mackerel.
Yeah.
It's kind of like shashuka a little bit is what it sounds like, but instead of with like sausage, you do it with mackerel, which doesn't sound good, but we might need to just all try it one morning that week, but we will get in a lot more on the details or on the benefits of eating fatty fish. But same thing, helps with inflammation, helps with sex hormone optimization. So many benefits. For me, one of the big benefits too is your omega-3 index. So I haven't gotten mine tested yet, but the goal is to be between 8 and 12. That's you can get your omega-3 index tested. Life Extension offers a test. It's just a finger prick. So I've been meaning to order it. I haven't yet. But that's my plan this week, is to order that and to see where I am and just kind of increase my fatty fish if needed to get above 8. And there are many benefits to being above an 8. But one for me personally, I have both of the genes for late onset Alzheimer's. And there has been lots of kind of like data correlating to having a higher omega-3 index to preventing dementia. So that's like a big personal one for me, but there are so many benefits to increasing your fatty fish intake, and we're doing every day. Obviously that's like phenomenal, but my hope is if you can get it in every day for that week 3 and then continuing into week 4, it will help you get some ideas, some recipes. And if you're just eating fatty fish like 3-4 days a week, you're going to benefit so much. So it will be a challenge for 14 days, but that's the purpose of this challenge, is to get us out of our comfort zone, to try new things, and to push ourselves so that we can kind of, feel the benefits of that too.
That's really one of the things where I feel like some things we just do because it's healthy, like because it's good for us. And it's one of the things.
Yes. Yes. If you got to plug your nose. And I think someone talked about it, just considering it a supplement sometimes. Like sometimes it will just be like, I'm eating this, it's like my supplement for the day. And other days it's like, I'm making this into a really delicious meal. And I'm going to get creative here. Some days I'm just choking it down. So it kind of depends on how much time I have on my hands and how creative I feel. So we'll be sharing recipes and things with that. And then on the last week, we will be continuing those first 3 weeks, and then we're going to be adding in 3 to 5 minutes of cold exposure daily. So this one we had questions on. Someone was asking if they're new, like how do they ease into that? I would say use those first 3 weeks to ease into it. And kind of like test it out and try it out so that you feel like you can handle it the last week. But if you're not wanting to do that, then I would say start, like it's all minimum dose, right? So you don't need to be 38 degrees in the cold plunge your first time plunging. Like start with 55 degrees, start with 60 degrees if you need to. It should feel cold, it should shock you, and it should be challenging. But that's going to be different for everyone. If you don't have a cold plunge, you could throw ice into your bathtub and do it that way, or you could take a cold shower. And usually what I do if I'm in the shower is I'll just get as much of the water on me as possible, like on my body. And then once I feel like I'm like acclimated, then I'll turn around and I'll hit the backside, and then I'll turn around and hit the front side. Anything you guys want to add on the cold exposure, especially Jess? She's like the queen of cold exposure on our team.
Go to your breath. Let it be your breath time too, because if you can focus on controlling your breath and slowing, just don't let, like trying to not let your mind race about the situation and going to your breath, it'll help tremendously.
Yeah. Just like, what would you say? What do you focus on, or what's kind of your practice with that, Jess, when you first get in the cold? Because you kind of want to like hyperventilate or hold your breath is, I feel like, what happens typically.
Yeah, I feel like when I'm coaching people with it, I will tell them I will kind of talk them through, so that helps, but just talking yourself through it, and also closing your mouth, because breathing through your nose, in and out of your nose, if you can, or at least in your nose, slow, like a straw out your mouth, will help to slow your breath down. Because if we panic and we get into like stress up here, it's going to feel like hyperventilating. So I think that's also good to practice getting even in the shower of cold. When you step in, and if you feel like kind of panicky, I feel like closing my eyes helps, and then just think about breathing into your belly space, not up here, because that's where the hyperventilating comes from. So if we can breathe into slowing and expanding belly, it slows our breath, it slows it down regulates our nervous system, so we're not in that fight or flight, because our breath can just bring us out of that. It just takes a little bit of practice.
I love that. And I think too, do you want to talk through any benefits from cold exposure?
I feel like for me, there's many that come with, how it can impact, like we talked about briefly with leptin, how it can help with your metabolism, how it can help with brown fat stores. Honestly, for me, and I think a big portion of it is because it it's a two-part, like I have to go to my breath. And so it helps me be so present with my breath. But it also starts to feel, even before I had a plunge and I was using it, just doing cold showers or ice baths when I could, you start to almost crave it, because when you come out of it, you're like, oh, like it just feels so good. And so like the surrender to something that's challenging is also so helpful. Like when we surrender to a workout that's challenging and we stay present with it, like it just helps set our day off for like, no, I can do hard things. Like when shit hits the fan and I don't like have control of everything around me, I have control of my breath, and I can use that to find calm when chaos happens outside of the cold waters. But it is such like it's a practice of like, no, you're going and you're stepping in and doing something hard and you're in it. And then it just helps translate into life in different pockets.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like totally the mental and the like all the other benefits are awesome, and they're going to benefit people in different ways depending on where they're at. But the mental piece for me is huge.
Yeah, it's a practice of reminding yourself you can do something hard every day. And so I like ending the challenge with that, because hopefully you start your practice of cold exposure, you know, from that. But I think it's definitely, all of these things are hard in different ways, right? And they're teaching us different things. And I agree. I think all of the benefits that we are seeing with cold exposure, like on the physiological side, are really cool. But I think just like the mental aspect of I'm challenging myself, I'm doing something hard, and the high you feel after is so gratifying. If you can start your day with that, like it feels like you can kind of tackle anything. So we'll get more into the like pre or post workout, how cold to do it, how long to do it, alternatives, and then also just way more into the science. We're going to bring David on for that call. I believe that's the plan. I will confirm that. And he does all of the blood work reviews for our clients for the Hungry Fitness community. And he is extremely knowledgeable on the cold exposure side of things. So bring all your questions that week if you have them, and he will be a great resource. And then also, bonus, anytime you tag Hungry Fitness Team, you get a point. So obviously maxing out at 7 per week. So I will be getting a tracker out before the challenge starts of like how we can track all of these points, so it is easy to do. And then we'll also be sending out a link today at the end of today for the sign up for getting your like protein and calories calculated for you in case you missed that when you signed up. And I'll also link this video in case you guys want to refer back to it with kind of a summary of everything we've talked about. So let us know if you guys have any questions. The challenge will officially start October 16th, which is when the new cycle of programming begins. And then it will go for 4 weeks, and we'll announce the grand prize winner on the 13th. So it'll be really awesome to get us like going into the holiday season, feeling like we have some great tools and strategies to feel our best through the end of the year. So it'll be exciting to see who can continue these habits. And then if we launch another challenge first of the new year, to hear how everyone's doing after that. So let us know if you have any questions. Thanks for joining. Hopefully, if you haven't joined the challenge, you do. And yeah, we'll be calculating protein and calorie and nutrition goals kind of through this week. So just expect to get a message from us in the app within 48 hours that your nutrition information has been set. We're going to set it so that you can track on MyFitnessPal, just because the recipe input is like a little bit easier to do on MyFitnessPal. But if you have been tracking within the Hungry Fitness app and you want to use that, or you want to try it, then let us know and we can set it for that too. So, okay.
Do we cancel our current account to join? So that's not.
No, the link to join is, I can post it on here. But the link to join, actually, I will just post it on when I post this Zoom call. I'll post it in the Zoom call groups, and I'll post it on everyone should hopefully have gotten an email with the link to join. But if not, I will post the link to join on the app in the groups. So if you don't see it, just let me know. But you don't have to cancel anything. Stay a member. You have to be a Physique subscriber or a one-on-one client to join the challenge. So it's a separate link to sign up, and we'll send that out. All right. Have a great day. We'll see all of you next Monday and be kicking off our 10,000 steps.